Welcome back to A Plus Parents, everyone. And are you ready to go on a discovery mission? Like the mysteries of the world. Well, that's what we're going to do today. So with me today is Nichelle Browne, and Nichelle Browne has a program called the Landmark Kids. So wait till you hear about what she's up to and what she's doing for young people. And you're going to get to just getting to know Nichelle. We got to meet at a homeschool convention about a month ago. And just in getting to know her and talking with her, she just has such a passion for young people and for education. So just super delighted to have her here today and share about what she's doing and how you can take advantage of the things that she's up to and just get to know her as well. So she's co-founder of what's called the Landmark Kids, which is she calls it a family mystery box. So I'm going to have her share with you what that means, but you get a chance to explore different countries and cultures, and you do it through puzzles, mysteries. She's been around education for over 20 years. She also has a background as an entrepreneur. So she's worked in working in businesses, and she had a business where she was working with young people and getting them working on their college applications and work them in a digital world, that she was able to do that. So just a super, super cool background. She's worked with college prep nonprofits and different kinds of education technology programs. So as you get to know Nichelle, what you're going to find is that she has a really, really in-depth background in the world of education. And now she brings it all to the homeschool world. And she works and she co-leads this program with her husband, which is called the Landmark Kids. There's her co-founder partner. She's a graduate of Baruch College, and that is, if you're not familiar with that college, that's part of the City University of New York. So there's kind of a group of colleges, and that's where she was. But currently now she's currently in Cleveland, Ohio, with her family. So really good, and she loves it there. But she was telling me, I asked her about favorite places to travel, and she was telling me Australia is her place. So I haven't been there yet. I want to check it out. So first of all, Nichelle, welcome to A Plus Parents. Super delighted to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, okay. So I know people are going like, Landmark Kids, what is that? So tell us a little bit about what is the Landmark Kids?
Oh, absolutely. So we like to describe the Landmark Kids as almost like an escape room in a box, but being able to explore the world. So oftentimes we give you a chance to participate and learn about different countries and cultures by solving these fun and engaging mysteries and logic puzzles. So every single month, you actually get a chance to go to a new location by solving challenging mystery cases through hands-on activities, logic puzzles, souvenirs, no computer needed. And you also get a recipe every single month too, to be able to experience that rich culture of that country.
Oh, I think if I remember right, I think I saw some of the recipes when I visited your booth in Ohio. So that's awesome. That's what I'd be about. Tell me about the food. That's where I want to go, right? That's
Yeah, the
very
food is
cool.
definitely a hit for a lot of families.
I'm sure. Okay, so you've got this immense background in education, and you've done a lot of things, and it's interesting. Like a lot of the things you've done has been in in the online digital world, and the program you have is not really in that world, right? So, how did you get started? What led you to creating with your husband and creating the Landmark Kids?
Yeah, so for us, I mean, as I, shared with you earlier, I have a passion for education. So, only my own story is that I am a first generation, college graduate of 4-year school. And I lived and grew up in a community in an area where, I was blessed to have the opportunity to go to a private college prep school, but most of the people in my community did not have that chance. They were actually going to the local public school, which was not doing the best at that point. And I saw the strict differences between the two. And because of that, we have had very different outcomes in our lives. And so for me, education has been a way of just really kind of expanding your mind and being able to be exposed to so many different things. So I've always have had a passion for that. And now we combine that with my husband and my co-founder, where for him, his journey was that, he was working with a lot of elementary and middle school camps and just engaged with a lot of students who never left their own county, let alone city. And, between the two of us, we've actually been able to travel to over 30 countries. So
Wow.
yeah, like we have had the opportunity to understand how living abroad and traveling abroad really opens up your mind to better understand the world and others and be able to really relate and engage with different people. So we wanted to be able to figure out a way to bring this rich cultural experience to people in their homes. And that's really how we started the Landmark Kids.
Wow. Okay. So here you are, the Landmark kid, Landmark Kids, right? And you've created this like a mystery geography box for families, right? So why did you what made you think of, I mean, it's a really cool idea, like a great approach to doing it. Especially I love that anything that's like dealing with logic puzzles and mysteries and puzzles, like the escape room, as you were saying, right? That to me, one, it's super engaging for young people, but it also creates thinking, and people have to kind of think their way through things, which I think is an art form that sometimes gets overlooked in education, right? So I'm super excited you're doing that. But when you look like in your, how do you say, like, what had you and your husband create this mystery geography box called the Landmark Kids?
Yeah, great question. So for us, like a big part of it is that we talked to hundreds of different parents to figure out kind of what were their biggest challenges with being able to teach their kids about different countries and cultures. And, they understood the value of it, right? Like it helps your child to be open-minded, to be aware. It builds confidence in being able to engage with other people. But they weren't sure how to teach it, or in some cases, like the curriculum that they were using, their kids were easily getting bored. It might have just been rote memory. So they were trying to figure out, okay, how do I engage my child and teach them about other countries, teach them about other cultures, but make it kind of fun and engaging. And so through a lot of those conversations with the parents, we started to kind of craft this idea. We created this product with our customers, which I think is the best way to create anything, right? Um,
Sure.
yeah, like give a solution that people want. And so we worked with kids, we worked with parents to actually come up with the recipes, to come up with the different logic puzzles, because a lot of kids in upper elementary and lower middle school, they love puzzles. Like it's fun to go to an escape room, right? Uh,
Right.
yeah. So that's how we decided to kind of bring this together to be able to create this experience that you can have delivered to your home every single month and be able to go to, well, we're going to 6 out of the 7 continents. Haven't quite made it to Antarctica yet, but you'll
Right.
see.
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't been to that one myself. So there's a couple I haven't been to yet. So we're still in process, right? So
Yeah.
and your program is designed for grades 8 up through 12th grade and beyond 12th grade, really. So when you were focusing there, was there, kind of like for you, like as you guys were looking, and obviously middle school kids, probably in the middle school age group, this is kind of geared towards them, and the high school group. Was there a reason that you kind of focused in on that particular age group? I mean, for me, the logic puzzles, just as you saying that, right? One thing is like, as we're getting into those teenage years and their young adult years, those are the times those thinking skills start to develop and really become something available. But what were you guys thinking when you decided to kind of gear it towards that upper age group?
Yeah, so for us, we're really targeting more of the ages 8 through 12. And in that particular case, I think part of it is because it's a really interesting time frame where they're really kind of like still malleable, impressionable, but really starting to kind of expand their world even more, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, and so it's such a ideal critical time, but yet a lot of these other products and subscription boxes really are geared towards the younger kids. Like they tend to stop at age 8, right? Or
Right.
you have some activities that may be for the teens, and you don't really have a lot for kind of that pre-teen age bracket. So like that was a really important reason for us of like, okay, during this really critical developmental period, how do we give something to this age range where, they're a little too old for kind of like the younger kid stuff. They're not quite old enough for like the young adult teen, like older teen stuff, but you're still, as a parent, have a desire for your child to be well-rounded, to be well-balanced, to be confident. And there's a certain, if we're honest, there's a certain fulfillment that you get as a parent, knowing that your child is going to be okay,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So that was a big reason why we decided to really focus on this age range, because it's really going to be a critical and pivotal moment as they do then prepare to transition into middle school and eventually high school.
Okay, so I want to make sure people are clear about for myself, because I said grades 8 through 12, right? But you're actually focused on ages 8 through 12. So
Yeah.
you're getting, which, it's like, for me, it's like I think about, logic and those kinds of things. And I'm always thinking, because I always work with I work with that, grades 6 and up, right? So I'm always in that world of those, middle schoolers, the young adults, and in that world. So I'm always thinking of critical thinking, critical thinking, critical thinking. But you're actually doing something with the young people that are in that age range, 8 to 12, where you're training them and introducing them to the idea of critical thinking. And when I think about it, those are the times that they're so curious, and they're asking questions, and they're like trying, they're exploring and discovering, right? They're not in that, what I call the grumpy teenager world, right? So they haven't made it to that world yet. But when they get to that world, they just, my grumpy teenagers, they're just my favorite, right? Because it's just kind of fun to hang out with them and just see what's up. But I'm really excited to hear that you're working with that younger age group, from those 8 to 12-year-olds, to get them ready for some of the things that when they're going to see later on, because then for them, they've had some of that experience with that critical thinking, which can open doors that they may not have had the opportunity to open otherwise. So that's really cool. Now, okay, so about Landmark Kids, right? So when we'll make sure we put in the show notes, and we'll talk about, how to get to the website and all those good things. How does it work? What is it? What do they get, and how do people get registered? And just kind of walk me through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Landmark Kids, you can basically go to our website to be able to sign up for a subscription. So whether you are able to get, monthly, or you can purchase it 3 months, 6 months, 12 months in advance. But with the process, we give you different items that kind of come in the box, including like a map of that country of the month, trading cards that kind of give you more information about that area, souvenirs actually. And a lot of our souvenirs come from local small businesses. So whether it's local businesses here in the US or actually from that country, then, of course, we obviously have the clues and the puzzles and the recipes, but the actual kind of lived experience that you get from going through the Landmark Kids box is essentially, as soon as you get your box and you open it up, right, you are then kind of transported to becoming an agent of a top secret mission. And now you have to figure out, for that country of the month, let's just say it was Japan, you have to figure out, where did this historical missing item get taken, and where did the thief take it within that country? You then are actually transported to that, imagine, with your imagination,
Right, right.
transported to that country, to have to actually travel to various cities across that country to figure out, where did the thief take the missing item. But in the process of actually solving some of these logic puzzles, as if you were in an escape room, right, to figure out how to get to the next place,
Right.
you're also learning about that particular country. So you're learning about the food in that area, some of the, major landmarks in that area. You're learning a little bit more about the culture. So you're doing this kind of almost through storytelling. So you're actually learning without it feeling like you're learning, which we know a lot of times storytelling is a great way to actually retain information. So through that's how you really get to experience the Landmark Kids box and, be a secret agent, to solve the mission of the top secret item that was stolen.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so that's really cool. Uh, but I'm curious about like with the subscription model that you have. What's the difference for someone that they want to do a 3-month plan compared to a 6-month plan? Is it more countries that they get to explore, or how does that work for them? Or they want to do a full year program?
Yeah, so there's not too much of a difference outside of price.
Okay.
So typically, you may have someone who kind of wants to, like, it may be a gift from a grandparent. So a lot of grandparents may gift their kids, their grandkids for like a 3 month or, experience, but you can always renew it for longer. But you essentially will get the country of the month every single month. So there are some who choose to do it on a monthly basis. There's some who will choose to just go ahead and sign up for the 12 months because they actually use it as supplemental material for what they're learning in their home schools. In addition to, it's a great summer activity as well.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun because it's like, it doesn't feel like your traditional learning. So you can still be learning without it feeling like you're learning over the summer. So
Wow.
that's a big part of it, because our price point starts at $30 per month, going up to $33, depending on which package you select.
Well, gotcha. Well, and it sounds affordable for people too. That's awesome. It's funny too, because it's like, I can imagine, and I'm going to take a guess, maybe some of your families, right? They find out where, where's the mystery? Where are they going to be headed? Where's the mystery to solve, right? Do you hear from your families? Do they ever report back to you that your place of the month, wherever you're having them discover, has that ever shaped some of their travel plans? Like they actually then end up going and seeing it themselves?
Yeah, I mean, even for us, I think we've added some new countries to our list. So yeah, I mean, we have like a list of people within our family and even just other like contractors and vendors that we work with who really get excited every single month to see kind of where are we going this month, because you just learn so much in the process. Like there's just all these fun facts. Like who knew? Well, a lot of us didn't necessarily know we actually do like the box of Morocco. A lot of us didn't know that the blue horse that George Washington is on was actually a gift from the Prince of Morocco, his Arabian horse.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's
That's
a pretty like popular photo, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't even know that I knew that the horse was blue, right? I was like, I just remember, the crossing the Delaware and the flag, and I remember those things, right? But yeah, I guess it's been a while for me since I've been in and around a geography kind of like study situation. So, well, that's just so cool. So, when you said something earlier, and I want to come back to this because you said something I think that's really, really important. And I've had the opportunity to travel outside of the US and, and live in different places and be in other countries and experience the cultures. So, you mentioned that for young people, that when they get introduced to other countries and other cultures, that it really starts to shape them for their own experience as they become adults, right? So for you, how do you really see that, seeing the other countries and the cultures, how does that really impact young people?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, as a parent, and us being parents as well, being me and my husband, like we want the best for our kids, right? We want to know that they are okay, even beyond us. And so, being able to have that exposure to other countries and other cultures helps them to continue to become well balanced, well rounded. You get to better understand through travel and through through geography about other people and understand their experiences, and it helps you to kind of be more adaptable. You're better able to understand the differences and the similarities and to be able to engage with a lot of different people, which, I mean, we're definitely in a global world, so it helps our kids to become more of a global citizen even at this early age.
Right.
And so, you're starting to build their confidence as well, even just through this experience of doing like the problem solving, while you're also still learning about other people and their cultures and their experiences, and being able to also become more aware. So when we are able to experience things that are outside of just our own lived experience, you're able to kind of, make decisions differently. You're able to it's a different level of critical thinking, even beyond like the actual logic puzzles. You're able to better understand kind of how to navigate the room or navigate, let's say when you're in a job, how to navigate with other peers. whether it's someone who's international or even just someone who's from, you know, the next state over. So there's a lot of hard skills that you get out of just like our, you know, subscription box of solving the actual puzzles, the problem solving, the critical thinking. But there's a lot of soft skills that are being built through kind of that exposure to different countries and different cultures and the experience that you get out of the Landmark Kids box as well. So it's really, our box actually brings kind of those two together of just the overall value of, you know, exposure to other people.
Wow. You said something I have to tell you, I never put this together until you just said it. And it kind of went click for me, is that, you know, oftentimes we think about geography and getting that kind of that worldview, that the world experience and seeing the different things that are out there and the different cultures. But you said something really interesting. And it was like, even if you're not traveling outside of the US, if you live in the US, that even impacts going state to state. And I think that's super important because, you know, I grew up in Florida, you know, and growing up in Florida is very, very different than growing up in Alaska or growing up in New York City or, you know, right. You know, so it's funny, you know, and people are like, well, you know, it sounds, well, you know, I'm just old Florida beach boy. You know, that was kind of, you know, the way that my background and, you know, and growing up that way. But I know that it's very different going from other places. And even when people say you're from the South, people tell me all the time, well, you're from Florida, you're not really from the South. You need to be from like Alabama, Georgia, you know, then we could say you're from the South, maybe Louisiana, or maybe South Carolina, right? But it's just funny because, you know, when I think back and it's like, you know, there is a whole, especially the idea of, you know, growing up in Southeastern United States. But when I would travel and go to other states, it was totally different. And there was, you know, there was things that I didn't understand about the way that things were in that area compared to the way that where I thought it was. So, you know, even for people that they're like, well, I may not travel to Japan, or I may not travel to Australia, I may not go to these different places, but your neighbor down the street, you know, or if you are taking a trip and you are going somewhere for a visit, you're going to Washington, D.C. and you want to visit something in D.C. and see something, there's a whole different world, especially in D.C., right? Because it's so international and you've got so many different cultures there as well. So I just think it's really, really great. So thank you for that, because that was a connection I hadn't thought about before. It was really great. Okay, yeah. So first of all, how do people find you? So how do they find you online and how do they do that?
Yes, for sure. So you can find us on our website at thelandmarkkids.com. You can also find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, by the same name, The Landmark Kids. So you can definitely follow us there.
And it has the word "the" in the front of it. So
it does have the word
Kids.
"the."
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
The
And
Landmark Kids.
And kids is plural. So it's not just the Landmark Kid, it's kids. Well, that's awesome. And you are offering our listeners a 20% off their first box for A+ parents. So there's a discount code if you're on the site. It's called A+. And is that all capital letters?
All caps.
US. Okay, all caps. You get a 20% discount on your first box of the Landmark Kids, which is super cool. And Nichelle, we'll have all of your social media links in the podcast notes as well for people. So not only can they get to you through your website, but I'm sure once they get on the website, they can connect to all your social media things as well, see what you're up to. So that's just awesome. Well, I'm so glad we had a chance to do this today, because for me, I wanted to find out more about what you were up to and find out more about you, which I got to do as well. So just super, super cool. And if it's okay with you, we should do this again and kind of just talk about some of the adventures you're on, maybe some of the new countries that you're finding your way into and some new things you come up with, if that's all right.
Absolutely. This was great. This was really fun. So I look forward to the next time.
Well, very good. Me as well. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for tuning in today, the A+ parents. And Nichelle, thanks for making your day work to be here as well. And check out the Landmark Kids. All right, everybody. Catch you next time. Bye, everyone.